Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the WION Sports Broadband Edition with me, Digvijay Singh Deo. My guest today joins me from Croatia, and it is the Indian football coach and 1998 World Cup semi-finalist, Igor Stimac. Igor, thank you for joining me. How have you been through this entire period, this entire crisis?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to participate in your show. I just hope and pray that everybody is keeping safe and keeping distance. As you know, this situation with COVID has created lots of problems all over the world. It's not different in India, it's not different in Croatia, but thanks to God, Croatia is coming out of the lockdown. We are stabilizing the normal way of life and breathing again, I would say.
But I think one must also give credit to the leadership in your country, because they acted very fast. They didn't wait for this to blow up. The moment they had the first case, they sort of shut everything down. So that's why the numbers are very low, less than 100 deaths, just about 2,300 people who are infected, lots of people who have recovered very fast because the diagnosis was very fast.
Of course, you are right. Our government deserves the praise for what they've done, how they reacted on time, with the precise purpose how to stop this situation with COVID spreading around, and all credits to them. But also we are blessed to be a small country with small population, you know, with many villages where we can keep safe and secure with our families, and that it was much easier for us than for some other countries, you know.
One of the reasons, as you mentioned, that because everything is opening up, there's now talk that even your football league can resume, perhaps by end of this month. That's also that's what we are hearing.
Yeah, it's been announced that league will start again now end of May, which is fantastic. You know, there will be no crowd, of course. We are still trying to be careful, not to put anyone in danger, but competition will start again. Leagues will be finished as a regular way, and that's very good for sport in Croatia, not only for football.
That's interesting you say that, Igor, because across the world, especially in Europe, lots of debate, especially in the big countries. Should the leagues go ahead as they stand at the moment, or should they be, you know, ended like we've seen with Holland, like we've seen with France? The big debate is happening in England right now. What happens? Liverpool have a lot of lead, and in all sorts of permutations, they win the league. But what happens to the other places? That's a very tough call for a lot of people to take right now because of the money riding.
These are big corporate leagues, you know, and they are losing big amounts of money every day if football is not played, you know. So even playing again without the crowd would be benefit to them. In Croatia is totally different. We are a country of production for football players, you know. We are industry of football here, and we don't have big crowds only for derby games. So it's much easier for us. It's different to compare these things. But of course, we are all missing football on a daily basis, not only football, whole sports in general. And I just hope that these young people and competitors will soon go back to their fields.
Okay. But, you know, you mentioned right at the start that Croatia is a very small country, but it's a very small country which also generates a lot of revenue from tourism. You think that as a country, that's the big worry now, because with this pandemic, a lot of people who usually come to Croatia and spend a lot of money in terms of tourism on the beaches, that may not see the levels. And that is the problem now for your country, the economy.
It is a huge problem for Croatia, but hopefully we are going to go through this without many difficulties. 1/3 of Croatian income is coming from tourism, and as you know, Croatia is a very beautiful country where many famous people are coming every summer to visit all these beautiful spots, fortresses and cities, small Dalmatian villages, enjoying the summer nights here in Croatia on the coastal line, enjoying beautiful, brilliant food. But good thing is that some 10 days ago, big European countries recommended Croatia as a COVID-free country for their people who would love to go somewhere. And that's a great thing for Croatia. So we just hope that we're going to have good tourism in July and August, which is always happening here.
Okay. But the worry, coach, here is that the money is important as well to run everyone's livelihoods. But the other problem is the health factor. That's an extremely tight rope to walk, isn't it? And that's not just Croatia. As and when countries across the world start becoming COVID-free, everyone will have to grapple with that decision, which is the balance between money and health.
No, absolutely, you are right. As much as we are happy about these informations coming from Germany and Austria and countries which were sending tourists over here for over 5 decades, in the same time, we have worries because these countries were very affected by the COVID, and we are not sure how we can control so many people coming over in the summer. The government needs to take good care of that, protecting its own people and those who would love to come over here and be safe.
Okay, you spoke about your league in Croatia resuming. I hope you, like all of us, have been watching the German league, which is already started. But it was sort of surreal, wasn't it, Igor? Because empty stadiums, you could hear the players shouting instructions. You could hear what the coaches were saying from the touchline. The fact is, football is resuming, yes, and we'll sort of have to get used to this new atmosphere. It's a very alien atmosphere to the football. You've played your football and what we are seeing now.
It's a good thing about it. We don't need to guess now when we see coaches shouting what they were saying, who they were shouting at. We know exactly what they were talking about, but we need to get used to new way of life, to new way of playing football and watching football. It is as it is. We cannot change it. We need to be conscious about the situation. We need to stay disciplined. We cannot allow the second wave of COVID to kill so many people again, So the sport is very important for all of us, but it's not the most important thing in the world, Life of the people and security of the people is much more important. Let's keep safe. Let's keep distance. Let's make sure that not many victims are all around us again.
Yes, I think keeping that count, as you said, is the most important thing. And a lot of people have told me that, every one life lost is something which, if we can save, we should save. But as an elite coach, when you talk about these changes, when you talk about seeing what we are seeing in the Bundesliga, do you think teams and players will have to now approach matches differently, think of different ways? A lot of teams, like, across the world, thrived on home atmosphere. Right now, that's not happening. So how do you adapt to that? The lack of fans to really help you on the pitch?
I would say that the only thing players will miss is excitement, which was coming from the stands, from the crowd, from the supporters. The other things are not much different to the ones before. The only difference happening now is that we can see many injuries on the football pitch, which is normal because the break was very long. And never mind how much players were working individually, they were not used for such a long break. And I was joking the other day with some friends here, mentioning, if someone has got benefit from this long break, it's Indian football, because we are used to long breaks, So we shouldn't have many injuries coming back to the football pitches because we have a break of 6-7 months every year.
So how do you feel, coach, about the last 12 months?
Excited, even much more than before, because we proved that we can change many things in such a short time. The task was not easy, to change from kick and chase football to ball possession football, to introducing many new young players into the team with more technical abilities. It was not easy. And we knew we were going to suffer through this way, but that was the only way to stabilize the results in the future. We are building up a very new team, which should achieve its high level in 4 to 5 years. So We have now 25 players which are at the moment 18, from 18 to 23-year-old. And I have on the classification, but looking back, the differences which were there and opportunities, we didn't take them. The game which was decisive, that was the opening game against Oman, where I was hoping that we can surprise a great team of Oman playing in Guwahati. Didn't happen for experience reason, didn't happen for some charismatic, lack of charismatic decisions at the certain times. Here we are, still alive. India now and today is not the team which is losing games easy. Indian team is very difficult to beat. The problem we are facing, we all know. We are not scoring goals. All 3 goals we scored in the qualifiers came from set pieces, and that's the biggest problem we are facing, And I'm already a little bit tired and I feel depressed because I'm mentioning so much how important it is to lower the number of foreign players for the future of Indian sake of Indian football. And this process is going too slow. I need to tell you, as much time as it takes, you can double that. So much time will take for India to grow up as a football nation. It's very important to lower the number of foreign players. It's very important to make the season longer. It's important to give players and provide players much more game. It's very important and crucial for Indian football if our government could help us changing the citizenship regulations so we can use 7-8 players of Indian origin who are playing abroad with great experience. That would change our football dramatically, especially results.
Igor, you have the reputation of being a straight-talking man, and the moment you said India playing kick and chase football, I sort of was laughing because it's so right. And the other problem is building a structure again in Indian football has been something which has taken a lot of time. But now that you're here, now that you've sort of seen and you know which way to go, where do you think Indian football needs to be in, say, 5 years from now? What's the roadmap which you think will be success for you?
When we were talking about making new structure for Indian football, then we were talking about the steps, how to approach everything. First thing was selection of the players. At the same time, we were supposed to make some crucial decision on the foreign players policy and work strongly with our government on the possibilities of changing regulations on citizenship. Few more things were very important. That's grassroots programs, baby leagues, and all these things which need to bring many new young players in the future for Indian football. Also, parallelly, we were working with FSDL on a longer calendar season, long-term calendar season, and new competitions. I wouldn't say new, they are old competitions, Durand Cup and Super Cup, which needs to start all over again. So we were working on many things which were not seen. We were working behind closed doors, working on a regular basis, communicating very well, and soon we're going to get results from this work. What is crucial for Indian football? Number of the games. We cannot stop our season end of February. Football needs to be played until May, mid-May. We know that we have a climate problem with a monsoon, few months of monsoon season, so it's impossible to play in such infrastructure we are having at the moment throughout July, August, and September. But then again, we need to keep playing during March, April, and May. I know that we are not still having possibilities of broadcasting all this and IPL and football at the same time and all that. But it's crucial we keep playing football. It's not important broadcast. It's important for Indian players to get more games, to improve their football, and to have and bring more quality for the national team.
Are you sort of are talking about more matches, but do you see this COVID-19 pandemic actually sort of playing havoc with your plans? Because now already your international qualifiers have been cancelled. The rest of the season looks grim. There is talk of pay cuts happening. I-League has been making pay cuts as well. You wanted to play more number of international games with the team in 2020. That also at the moment looks completely difficult considering travel regulations and quarantine regulations.
What I feel sorry about was that our plans were destroyed, which were presented and accepted by the government and AIFF for the April and May. We were supposed to go on pre-season training sessions and camps to Turkey and Croatia, and we were supposed to play 10 friendly games. Everything was arranged, everything was ready for us, and then COVID situation canceled everything, you know. As I said, this long break shouldn't affect our national team more than others. That should be even less than for others. But you never know what's going to happen once we get together. What I'm confident about is what I am seeing every day and receiving the clips of video clips of my players executing individual working plan and program, communicating really well and receiving the lectures through the WhatsApp group. We are trying to use this time any way we can, anyhow, you know, to improve on certain points, which is important for football players. Even theory, improving on theoretical points, it's very important for football players. That's what we are doing at the moment.
Okay, you mentioned online sessions. We had Croatian football coach Zlatko Dalic, in fact, along with you, address a lot of Indian coaches. You know, the Football World Cup 2018, Croatia reaching the final was a huge moment. But you were part of an even more significant moment in 1998 when your team reached the semi-finals and ultimately came third. In terms of football impact, Igor, do you think that the 1998 campaign was more important and more impactful than 2018?
It was the first one, you know. To make it first time, it's always much more difficult. We were a very young nation at that time, and we came as a surprise to many in the football world, but not to us. 6 of us from this generation were under 20 world champions in 1987. So we knew and we were confident about our capacities and possibilities, what we can achieve on the World Cup. So it was not a surprise to us. Many people are discussing which generation is better, you know. If we could put these two together to play and face each other, who would win? I would bet that it would be my generation, you know, but maybe I'm subjective, not it's logical, you know. So both generations were great. So many great world-class players in both of them, and it's just fantastic for Croatia, such a small country, to achieve so many good things and so many medals. I can tell you, when we speak about Croatia and Olympic medal winners, only in my city of Split, which is population of 180,000, we got 100 Olympic medal winners here. You know, and if you compare to India, which is on lower than 30, with 1.5 billion people, it tells you about genes in this area, how talented nation we are.
Yes, extremely talented nation. In fact, you were telling me that when the great Goran Ivanisevic won his Wimbledon title, you actually threw a party for him. But also, when you also spoke about Croatia being this footballing factory in producing a lot of talent. The Euros have got postponed by a year. You were sort of expecting Croatia to kick on and really be a threat at Euro 2020. One more year down the line, do you sort of feel a bit anxious considering that the likes of Luka Modric, Perisic, Mandzukic, they're all going to be significantly a year older. They're reaching, you know, that phase of their career where age will start to slow them down.
New players are coming forward here from Croatia, so we are not worried about a year less or more for Modric, Rakitic, or Mandzukic and others, which were doing wonderful job for Croatia, you know. So, I mean, I'm not worried, even as a supporter or as a coach, for Croatian future in the next Euro, because whenever we were putting in the battle young players, they were doing better than the older ones. So we are not afraid. They are all talented. They are very motivated, which is important, and hunger is there. So sometimes putting young players into fire, it gives you lots of benefit. I'm big fan of such a way of work.
Yes. We are seeing that with our hockey team as well. Lots of youngsters coming in, in Indian hockey as well, which is a big sport over here. But Igor, do you see this COVID-19 pandemic and this break sort of affecting Euros 12 to 15 months later? Will it have a significant impact that way? It's not in Croatia, you all have adapted, but in other countries, considering the way players are, who do you think this break will now favor?
It's difficult to say from this distance what's going to happen, how it's going to look like. You know, it's going to be a long break for many players, many countries. I just hope that we're not going to face many injuries, not only Croatia, but the rest of the teams, and that all of us, we are going to celebrate football and great games once again. So that's all I pray for and I hope for. What's going to happen, how different teams are going to be, it's not really important. It's important to celebrate football, to celebrate sport, to join together again and watch great games.
Yes, we sort of have missed that live action, haven't we? My final question before I let you go, we were talking about what the impact could be, but I found I think that there could be one unintended positive consequence, that of this pandemic, that with the financial instability, a lot of clubs, especially in England, will perhaps have to look at their own homegrown players, because the big money transfers are going to be very rare this year.
That's what I was mentioning for our club owners and others. This pandemic has caused lots of financial troubles to many corporations. And those corporations are directly connected to sports, to football clubs as owners, as stakeholders, or whatever. And it's reasonable at such a point to change certain rules and regulations and rely more on homegrown product. And this was a wonderful situation and position for India to change dramatically this situation, because, as you know, half of our ISL clubs are facing financial difficulties now. And if all clubs are not in the same position financially to have good and quality foreign players, what's the point of the competition? So the competition is good only if everyone starts with the same amount of money and same regulations. Otherwise, money makes difference.
Yes, and that's perhaps been the problem in Indian football, but we have a nice firm head, a wise head of yours to stir us through these muddy waters. They've been calling India the sleeping giant of world football, but listening to you, Igor, we sort of know which way we need to go, and hopefully Indian football grabs this opportunity. As you said, we've moved on from kick and chase football. There's more structure coming in, and hopefully the hard work that you and your team are putting in right now, we see that on the pitch coming to bear fruit in the next couple of years. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you all stay safe. Hopefully you go and enjoy your Croatian league, and hopefully we see you back in India very soon.
Thank you very much for having this wonderful conversation. God bless you all. Keep safe.